I wanted to be at Texas State. I chose to be at Texas State. I'm from Texas. That was important to me. I always knew if the right guy got this job, you better watch out.
You better watch out. This is Win Now or Get Bent, episode 205. If you don't already know, I'm Kev Tardello, coming to you on Sunday, September 7th, and the student became the master. The Texas State Bobcats take down the UTSA Roadrunners on Saturday at the Alamo Dome, 43-36. 2 wins for G.J. Kinney over his former mentor, his former head coach at Gilmer High School. 2 consecutive wins over UTSA for Texas State after losing the first 5 of this series. Now the Bobcats are in the driver's seat. It's such a here we are moment for the Bobcats, a here we are moment for Brad Jackson. Way to show off the arm. Man, that kid he needed to go to San Antonio to show it off, I guess. We've all been wondering, when are we going to see the verticality? Boy, did we see it. We saw a lot of it at the Alamo Dome. Great atmosphere at that game, an incredible crowd, a lot of fans on both sides, absolutely. I wouldn't say it was 50-50, but there was a lot of Texas State Bobcats, and you could hear it when on touchdowns and everything. That was awesome to see. We're going to talk all about this game. We've got a lot to go over, what this means for Texas State, what this means for G.J. Kinney and Brad Jackson, the Bobcats, this program. Is Texas State the best G5 in the country? Are they at least the front runners? They deserve to be in the conversation after what's happened the first 2 weeks of the season. So we're going to talk all about it. But before we get there, this episode is brought to you by The Galindo Collective, TGC LLC, thegalindocollective.com. That's Galindo, galindocollective.com. A team of professional consultants dedicated to helping others realize their business potential through people, planning, and practice. Their services cover a wide range of areas such as business strategy, marketing, human resources, and financial planning. If you own property or a business and want to maximize its profitability, contact TGC at thegalindocollective.com and follow their social media platforms on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at TGC_LLC, and on Instagram and Facebook at The Galindo Collective. Shout out to Rick Galindo, a true Texas State sicko, a Texas State grad himself. This is the 3rd season TGC LLC has been partnered with Win Now or Get Bent. Cannot thank Rick Galindo enough. And hang in there for the next home game because we're going to have our TGC ticket giveaway. That'll be coming up. But until then, check them out, thegalindocollective.com. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can see a new Cats by 90 hat. That's right. Mine came in the mail. Also, the state script one came in the mail. I gave it to the wizard. He'll be showing it off soon, I'm sure. But bhihats.com. Been having it hats. They have the best hats. Look at these. Look at these bad boys. Get on there and go get yours. They are going fast. They have about 20 left. They're having great promos. You punch in WNOGB, you get 10% off. And I'm pretty sure just if you're hearing this on Sunday, you may have just today to do this. But if you put in promo code ICEY, that's ICEY, the misspelling. Some people try to make fun of the Texas State football Twitter for their icy uniforms. Well, BHI Hats is going to turn that mistake into a promo code. 20% off if you use code ICEY, ICEY on there. But bhihats.com, been having it hats. Check them out. They are very, very cool hats. I cannot wait to wear this all around town this week. It's great. It was great to get it Saturday morning, too, right before everything was popping off for Texas State. Obviously, can wear this one in the press box. But I did see some sickos. In fact, shout out to my guy, Caleb Ward. I made a note to give him a shout. Let me see. Caleb Ward. Big shout out to Caleb Ward and his buddy Sergio Ramirez. Even though Sergio Ramirez is a UTSA grad, I saw my guy Caleb. He was wearing the Mad Cat shirt and this hat. I mean, we're twins, Caleb. Shout out to you. He was sitting in a sea of orange. He was out there wearing all swagged out, wearing the Win Now or Get Bent gear, wearing the Cats by 90 hat in enemy territory, orange all around him. It was great. I had a great visual of him right by the press box. It's an open air press box at the Alamo Dome. It's actually really nice press box. But I saw Caleb right there, and that was exciting. It's nice to point that out to some other media people. Like, hey, look at that. Got some real sickos in the stands right now. So thank you, Caleb. That if the win didn't make my day, that made my day. That was cool to see you and to Sergio. He's a good sport about it because I put it. I guess Caleb doesn't have a Twitter. I put the picture on Twitter, and Sergio, his buddy, who's in the picture. If you haven't seen it, go check it out on Twitter. I should have geared it up to load it up here. Maybe we'll do that another time. But he's in the background giving a thumbs down. Sergio is. Tough break, Sergio. Sorry, man. But eat 'em up. Great win for the Cats. But yes, bhihats.com. Was that part of the ad read? I don't think so. It was a whole other thing. But hit up bhihats.com. Let's get to these Bobcats, though. Let's get to this game. Texas State 43, UTSA 36. This one was for GJ Kinney. This last season, I feel like in this series, that win over UTSA, that 49-10 win, that was more for the fans. That was something that needed to happen for Texas State after losing the first 5 in the series. That win was massive. It was big for a lot of these fans here. That one that we saw last night, or yesterday, I should say, yesterday afternoon, for GJ Kinney, that one was for him, and you could see it after the game, the emotion on him, just beating Jeff Traylor for a second time. I mean, that's this. We're talking about his former head coach in high school. I know a lot gets made about it every time these two guys meet up, and maybe some of you are tired of hearing it, but that's such a rare thing to happen. And for somebody, Jeff Traylor, who's had incredible success in 6 years at UTSA, for GJ Kinney to know this about his former mentor, maybe current mentor, who knows. But this was a big matchup. This was a big mental hurdle, a weight on his shoulders. I can imagine. If obviously they love each other, but you still want to win that game. You want to prove that you can do that you can go out there and beat Jeff Traylor, and he did it 2 years in a row. Once, maybe you can say lucky. Twice is a theme. If they do it again next year, it's a pattern. So the Bobcats are humming right now, and it's a lot of fun to watch. GJ Kinney, just seeing the emotion on him. I'm so happy for him. I'm happy for the maturity level that this coaching staff, where everything has gone when you watch the games and they're able to put together 4 quarters of consistent football, of solid football. It's not this up and down stuff that we saw the first 2 years where they'd go out there and they'd come out hot and then it would staple off a little bit and then they'd finish hot again. This time it's pretty steady. I know there was that 2-0 first quarter and then the scoring really picked up in the second and third quarter. But after they got that 65-yard touchdown to Bo Sparks, they were able to really anchor down and prevent UTSA from getting into the end zone or scoring again and continuing to make it a game. And that's a testament to coaching. That's having a game plan that have these players prepared for this moment. This is a rowdy crowd. Everybody knew that this was going to be, 45,000, third biggest UTSA's ever had at the Alamo Dome. You have to prepare this team for it, and they did. They had them ready. They had Brad Jackson ready, a freshman quarterback. They had everybody. All forces were going for the Bobcats, and that's a testament to coaching. They've come a long way. I mean, even you lose your offensive coordinator. You have a freshman quarterback out there. There's a lot there's every reason this offense should have regressed in the first 2 games. They've shown you that they haven't. We're going to talk more about the offense and everything going forward, but this offense has not regressed. It may, I going into the year, I was like, I don't think this is going to be a team that'll lead the Sun Belt in scoring and yards like it has the last 2 years. I want to rescind that. Absolutely. I think this is still the top offense in the Sun Belt. Obviously, there's some competition there, and there's a lot of season left, but I think that I was wrong. I was foolish to think that going into the season, looking at how they looked, because Eastern Michigan was one thing, but to do it against UTSA, they have some real deal players on that team. You saw Shad Banks. You saw some of those guys out there, some guys that are going to be playing on Sundays. To do that against UTSA just showed me more than I needed to see. Big arm Brad Jackson. Let's talk about Brad Jackson, the young man, Brad Jackson. This is his 6th game we've seen. No, excuse me. This is his 5th game that we've seen him go in. His 2nd start. He appeared in 3 games last year. We saw a lot of running. We saw 4 touchdowns on the ground. We saw 1 screen pass to Drew Donnelly. Then we saw his first start against Eastern Michigan. We see the 4 touchdown passes to Bo Sparks, but none of them were huge touchdowns. Like 16 yards, I think, was the biggest one. We didn't see a whole lot of the big arm Brad. So we hear these rumors. We hear a lot of things about, he's got a stronger arm than Jordan McLeod and things like that. And you have to see it. And boy, did we see it. And we saw it the very first play against UTSA. They didn't connect on it, but they went deep right off the bat. And I clocked it. I recognized it. I was like, oh man, he just threw that ball 40, 50 yards down the field on play 1. They're coming. They're here to show something. I even asked G.J. Kinney if it was a message. He said it wasn't really a message, but I felt like it was a message because then they kept going back to it. All those deep passes, 2 huge ones to Bo Sparks, 2 big ones to Chris Don. I mean, let's look at Brad Jackson's stats real quick. 24 yards per completion. That's the first one I noted. I rarely put yards per completion as the first one, but 24 yards per completion against UTSA for young Brad Jackson. Big arm, Brad Jackson, Action Jackson, B-Jax, all the nicknames. He deserves all of them. Give him all the nicknames. 12 for 20, 286 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. No, he wishes he had that one back. Shad Banks got him. And 2 rushing scores on the ground, like 35 yards rushing, something like that. The big one was the 65-yard touchdown to Bo Sparks. The one where Bo Sparks, he said night-night in the end zone. After that, I appreciated that. That's definitely in the cinematic recap. Pretty sure it's going to be in the thumbnail. Look out for our guy Zachary Webb, his cinematic recap coming out. But really the pass that impressed me the most was the very first play of the second quarter, that 73-yard completion to Bo Sparks. That was one of the best passes I've ever seen live. I mean, the Bobcats are on the 16-yard line. Brad Jackson, he rears back. That ball sails a good 50 yards in the air. It didn't go high. It wasn't a high shooter. It wasn't a moon shot. This was like a missile shot. I don't want to say it was a line drive, but it was not a moon shot by any means. I mean, he put that thing on a rope to Bo Sparks, and Bo Sparks is running. He doesn't have to slow down at all. He didn't have to reach. He didn't have to do anything. He just had to put his hands out. Boom. It hit him at the 39-yard line. He was able to run and get tackled at the 11-yard line for a 73-yard completion. Led to a touchdown. Lincoln Perry got in the end zone shortly after that. But that was the pass. That was the pass to me. That was his best of the day. He had some great ones. He had the 2 to Chris Don as well. The 65-yarder, like I mentioned earlier. But that 73-yarder, the first play of the second quarter, I almost audibly gasped in the press box. And, you have to be real quiet. There's nothing, it's a professional press box. You're working. And that throw was just, it didn't matter what color jersey anybody was wearing. That was an incredible throw. I couldn't believe how efficiently it got to him from 50 yards away. And now, when we heard G.J. Kinney, he said that Brad Jackson has a stronger arm than Jordan McLeod. And I was like, okay, I'm going to have to see it. All right, now I believe it. Absolutely. He didn't just do it once. He did it 3 other times, 4 times, 4 big passes in that game from Brad Jackson. Not just a runner and a gunner. The guy is here. He's here to take over the Bobcats. No doubt about it. Bo Sparks, though, I just mentioned it. Another touchdown catch, 65-yard touchdown catch that really put UTSA away. That was fantastic. 12 catches, 237 yards, and 5 touchdowns in the first 2 games of this season for Bo Sparks. 12 catches, 237 yards, 5 touchdowns in the first 2 games. I made some segments out of like who's wide receiver 1, who's going to be the wide receiver 1 for Texas State. Joey Hobart's gone. Cole Wilson's gone. Jaden Williams is gone. Who's going to take over? Bo Sparks, he's got it. He's wide receiver 1 now. I mean, those stats speak for themselves. We saw a lot of great stuff from Chris Don Jr., and he's right there competing for it. Who knows? He could take it back, but it's a pretty big lead for Bo Sparks right now. Landon Keppel as the offensive coordinator. We really got to make a note out of Landon Keppel. Mac Leftwich, offensive coordinator, the architect of G.J. Kinney's offenses. His first 3 years as a head coach, going back to Incarnate Word. He left, went to Texas Tech. G.J. Kinney, he made an internal hire, and promoted Landon Keppel to offensive coordinator. We saw him in the bowl game. That was his first one. It was still kind of an interim status, I believe, at that time. It wasn't official before that bowl game. Maybe it was. Maybe I'm not remembering that clearly. But I'm pretty sure it wasn't an official capacity. In these first 2 games, these are where he is the OC. He had a whole season to game plan. He was ready for it. He wasn't just taking over for somebody who left for another job. And his first 2 games, he has 1,060 yards of total offense. Very balanced as well. It's like 500 rushing and then 500 and something passing. Maybe it's split the other way. And 95 points in 2 games. 1,060 yards and 95 points in 2 games. That's a pretty good job. And against 2 FBS teams. It's not like they were playing an FCS team in non-conference. They have one of those coming up in Nichols, after Arizona State this week. They have one of those in Nichols, but this is 2 FBS programs, and UTSA is a really good FBS program. Eastern Michigan maybe a little on the downside over there, but impressive. It's UTSA always has salty defenses. We saw Shad Banks out there getting interceptions, making lots of tackles. That guy will be playing on Sundays. Terrific player. This was a real deal. I didn't see any like NFL type players on Eastern Michigan. I saw 3 or 4 for UTSA. So I thought this was a very impressive game. I mentioned it, 2 catches for 109 yards for Chris Don, but not a lot from other receivers or tight ends. Really need to see more from other receivers. It was Kylan Evans had a catch, but no other receivers had a catch, no tight ends catch. It was running backs making the other catches. Really for longevity of the season, because if somebody rolls an ankle or what have you, if you don't have a lot of depth there, then some of these plays, these deep passes aren't going to materialize like they want. So I think they need to start cycling some more guys in any way that they can, it's been working, so it's hard to really like knock on progress. But I don't think they need to force the tight ends. I love what they're doing with the tight ends. So much 12 personnel, seeing a lot of 2 tight end sets, seeing a lot of Titus Lyons just knocking dudes around. A lot of great blocking. Blake Smith getting in there as well. I really like what they're doing. Who needs a fullback when you have 2 tight ends that are swinging around, making blocks and everything? Really appreciate what they're doing. Reward them for their hard work and the blocking with some catches every now and then, but definitely no need to force it, because what they've done with the tight ends is really working for this offense. It's kind of interesting I don't know if I saw a lot of like vertical choice that we've seen in the past. Maybe I wonder if they are moving off of this, or if there was still some of that, because we did hear Brad Jackson talk about, and when he was going over chemistry with Bo Sparks and just the same level that they're on. I posted those videos around on socials of the press conference with Brad Jackson, and how he said he was like on that big pass play. I think it was the 65-yarder, the touchdown. He looked over to Bo Sparks and gave him a head nod, and they knew it was on. They knew they were going deep. They knew they were going to the end zone. So maybe that implies there was some choice there in that moment. I'm not exactly sure, but it does definitely imply that they are on the same wavelength, and that has me very excited for the rest of the season. Oh, we still have lots to go over, but before we get there, this episode is brought to you by Turnkey Tailgate Party Providers. Bobcat owned and operated by 2 brothers, Steve and Trey Garza. Turnkey Tailgate is the premier party provider for the I-35 corridor, servicing Austin to San Antonio and everything in between. Rent tailgate party trailers, tents, chairs, and other outdoor equipment. They'll even set it up and take it down. An 8x16 trailer with electric brakes, RV bathroom with air conditioning, hot and cold water in there, roof mounts, TVs, receivers, generators, tents, chairs, whatever you need, they've got it. They've got coolers, they've got camp style chairs, the whole deal. Check them out at turnkeytailgate.com. That's turnkey-tailgate.com, or call them up at 833-858-4283. That's 833-TKT-GATE. That's 833-TKT-GATE. And follow them on Instagram and Facebook at Turnkey Tailgate. All right, shout out to Turnkey Tailgate. That's a fun one. We've got a great little video we're gonna post around on socials. I'll try and fit it in on this episode. There's music on it, so I don't know if that'll, not this episode, an episode coming up. We'll try and fit it in. Nice commercial by them. They're doing some fun stuff at Turnkey. But all right, let's get back to these Bobcats. Big body offensive line, really taking care of work. We didn't see them run all over UTSA like we did against Eastern Michigan, but they were still getting in there. We saw Lincoln Perry, 71 yards and a touchdown on 21 carries. He was really taking some of the bell cow work, some of those short yardage runs that they really needed. It was good to see him capable of that out there. You know, they were, we'll get to Burrell here in a sec. There wasn't any Burrell, and it seemed like that's where he would come in for those moments, but they were able to put that on Perry. He was able to get 71 yards and a touchdown. Jalen Jenkins off the bench, 7 carries for 52 yards. He had 74 the week prior, 52 this week, and a touchdown this week. I like Jalen Jenkins a lot. Really, I want to see some more of him. But like I said, no Burrell. Remember Greg Burrell from the first game, the UNLV transfer. He looked really good coming in for Lincoln Perry. He was on special teams, but he wasn't getting out there at running back. You know, we asked G.J. Kinney about it. He's like, oh, yeah, you know, we got to utilize him more. He didn't give like a specific answer, but we have seen G.J. Kinney put running backs in the doghouse before. We've even seen it for Lincoln Perry last season a little bit. You know, I don't want to speak out of turn. It definitely felt like he was in some sort of doghouse, or whether they cycle through these guys. We've seen, like, and I remember Jenkins, why he wasn't playing a lot last year was I believe it was a fumble, and then we didn't see a lot of him the rest of the season. But both those guys, Jalen Jenkins and Greg Burrell, two guys who entered the transfer portal and were convinced to come back to Texas State. Jenkins entered the transfer portal after the season, and Burrell entered it after spring football. They both were able to convince to come back, and they're being utilized quite a bit. Not Burrell this game. Really, they need to wonder what's up with that. But they have a lot of great running backs for Texas State. They have guys who can go. You know, you don't have the one Ish Mahdi style running back who's just going to lead the nation in all-purpose yards and things like that. But they have 4 to 5 guys who can really play. I mean, if they started a game with Perry, Burrell, Jenkins, Burgess, I'd be like, okay, that's a starting running back. Which is pretty rare to go through 1 through 4 like that. And the only reason I haven't mentioned Tajee Atkins, we just hadn't seen him yet, or Cole Pryor, the true freshman. We haven't seen that. Tajee Atkins is the Rice transfer. So they've got a lot of running backs. Real impressed with the running game. Even though it was the passing game that propelled this win this game, I'm still enamored by it. Specifically, like I was saying before the ad break, about the tight ends and how they're blocking there. Tyler Robles, 50-yard field goal for Tyler Robles, USC transfer. Bobcats have a kicker. Nice to confirm. We saw him make a short one against Eastern Michigan. Saw him go 7 for 7 on PAT. Nice to see that 50-yarder. Welcome to the party, Tyler. Nice to have you. Oh, gonna need a kicker definitely all season. Tyler Robles. Good stuff from Tyler. You know, you lose Mason Shipley. He goes off to UT after doing everything he did at Texas State, and you wonder, that's a really, really hard replacement. You know, I know the only thing really special teams is they had the kickoff that went out of bounds. They got penalized for, so definitely got to clean that up. But yeah, really liked what I saw from special teams. I love what I see on kickoff too. The movement. I don't know if you're watching. It's Tanner Burns. He's the new special teams coordinator from Auburn. When you watch Texas State, they have players like switching back and forth, and you don't know who's where, and it's fascinating. I hadn't seen that. I don't know if he'd done that at Auburn. I probably should have cut more Auburn tape for special teams, but I really liked that. That was a new wrinkle. So make sure you look for that on kickoffs for Texas State. How much movement they're doing all around. It's pretty cool stuff. Let's talk some defense. There's still a lot to be desired defensively for Texas State, but this was a much tougher performance by them. I thought they stepped up to the opponent. They stepped up in the moments that they needed to. There were some times of weakness, but overall, it was a strong performance. Khalil Alexander really set the tone. I think it was like the second play of the game. Owen McCowan trying to scramble around, took a big hard shot from number 2. His helmet came off. UTSA had to call a timeout. In fact, twice in the first half. 2 of their 3 timeouts that they burned in the first half were because Texas State player knocked off the helmet of Owen McCowan with a hard hit. So that's pretty good right there from the defense. The physicality That's something that they talked about, that they wanted, that you know when you play UTSA, it's going to be a physical team. A Jeff Traylor team is going to be physical. And they knew they had to step that up, and they brought it. They answered that call. There were moments things got by them. They got beat, but they were physical. They were tough this game. But very strong performance in that aspect from a physicality standpoint. Technique and being in certain places and situational defense, that there's a little bit to be desired there. But I know on third down, I didn't even make a note of it, but I'm pretty sure I have the stats right here. Is this UTSA? That's great. I have it right here. 3 of 12 they held UTSA on third down. Yeah, I knew I was happy about third down. 3 of 12 on third down. That was big. I think I noted the tackling against Eastern Michigan where they didn't wrap up enough. Great job this time. Ryan Nolan with 11 tackles. I still don't love when a safety leads the team in tackles, but he was doing some stuff close to the line of scrimmage. It wasn't like they were breaking off to the third level and he was having to make a stop. That did happen sometimes, but a lot of the times it was Ryan Nolan getting in there and making a good play. Traylon Payne with 8 as well. I know there seems like they're cycling through that linebacker position, trying to solidify that, figure out who's going in there. Traylon Payne definitely setting himself up to take over there. I think a lack of pressure has led to some coverage breakdowns. This is a defense that they send a lot of guys, and they pride themselves on getting pressure from the front four, and that front four hasn't been really getting there a ton. Edge isn't really getting back there as much as we're used to, I should say. That is an area that has regressed, and it's an area that I thought would have been a lot better at this point in the season. In fall camp and everything, I thought that was going to be one of their strengths, was getting after the quarterback. But, they're still figuring out personnel, and you can tell they're cycling through guys. Joe Lazen Landry was hurt. We saw Tymir Jackson go down. He was hurt. So they're having some issues getting pressure, because that's what a lot of in this defense, the two go hand in hand. The D-line gets pressure, and that helps the DBs stay in coverage, get their coverage. But when the pressure isn't there, the coverage isn't there either. And that's kind of what we've seen sometimes. So they go hand in hand with this style of defense, and they're going to have to increase that. Because there were some coverage breakdowns. Honestly, Bobcats got lucky that McCown, not lucky for the win. They got lucky McCown missed some passes. Because Devin McCune was pretty open on some of these. Yeah, 12 targets, only 5 catches, because McCown kept missing them. I was not very impressed with McCown. He missed a lot of throws that should have been there. But Devin McCune, he was able to break down the defense quite a bit. I think there's work to be done at all 3 levels on the defense, and on the D-line, linebackers, DBs. Maybe it's just getting on the same page. I'm not exactly sure. It's not a liability. I'm not over here overly concerned like, oh, this defense is going to hold them back from doing so and so, because I don't think that's the case. I just think it's not the offense where the offense is humming at all levels, and the defense, not a liability, but not elite. That's kind of where I'm at with it. Has really good moments, but it's not elite by any means. And I think they have a lot of talent across it. They brought in some really good players, and you see them out there, and you're like, okay, just need to. That's an athletic player. That's a big player. Really, just needs to be put together. So some more work on defense, and I think that's something they know. But I mean, all in all, 2 wins though. I mean, you can't get too mad at them. Incredible atmosphere at the Alamo Dome. I hate to give UTSA too much credit, but man, what an atmosphere at the Alamo Dome. Specifically the intro that they did with Jeff Traylor walking to the field, and the cameras following him from the locker room through the hallways before the team has made their entrance onto the field. They're walking through the hallways. There's a camera following them. He's got police on either side. He's got the team behind him. It's like a boxing intro or UFC intro that they're coming in. And then it's funny because through the hallway, you see it on the big screen at the Alamo Dome, through the hallway coming in. That one feels like a boxing match, but as soon as they hit the field, it feels like a WWE wrestling match or something, with the pyrotechnics and the smoke and everything. They have a really cool atmosphere. with the setup. In fact, that thing where the camera follows trailer, I want Texas State to steal it and do that with Kenny when he's coming out at UFCU Stadium. Thought that was really cool. It set for a fun atmosphere at that game, and I did appreciate that. I think that Texas State has passed UTSA. I mean, it's not saying anything totally out of turn, but I think Texas State is right now they're the best G5. They're the front runner for it right now, and they've passed UTSA. And I know that's probably hard for them to accept. They definitely weren't accepting it leading into this game. They didn't believe that this could happen, but Texas State has passed UTSA. Took a long time, and then they did it in 2 quick years. They were able to get these 2 wins, and just all of the momentum is in the Bobcats' favor. They're going off to the Pac-12 here after this season is done. They've won 2 games in a row. Who knows what this series is even going to look like next year, who the coaches are, and everything like that. Things do change constantly, but right now at this moment, UTSA is in Texas State's rearview mirror. And that's gotta be a real hard pill for them to swallow, because I know that was a hard pill for everyone to swallow here when UTSA passed Texas State. And they did it for a long time. They were able to sustain that for a good little bit. But the Bobcats, man, they got their act together, and they were able to swing that pendulum back. And it's massive for this place. It's upgraded so many aspects of San Marcos and this university and everything. And Dr. Kelly Dampus, he knew it. He knew when he had to come in here, he had to galvanize sports if you want to galvanize this place. And man, did he did it. It feels good. It feels good to say that and not just be a bunch of hubris. Like you're just, here's this homer talking about how they've passed up UTSA. Like, no, they've passed up UTSA, and it's objective. And if anybody who's out there going to say that they haven't, they're not being objective anymore. I mean, it's just how it is. The Bobcats are better than UTSA in football, and that feels great to say. Is the Super Cat dead? Did the star replace the Super Cat? Because that star looks pretty sweet. You guys are going to have to talk me off the ledge about just going all in on the star, because I loved the star on the helmet. That looks good. Paired with the Texas State on the uniform, it doesn't get much more Texan than that. That was incredible stuff. I love the way that looks. Obviously, you can't kill the Super Cat. I have the Super Cat right there on a helmet. It still looks, it's wonderful. It's a wonderful Super Cat helmet. But man, that star, that looked good. I need it on a hat, on a shirt, on whatever, And especially they debut it in that win, an Alamo Dome dub for the Bobcats. A shout out to me for 41-35 was my prediction. I always say I hate predictions. You predict the unpredictable, but I got pretty close. It was 43-36. I said 41-35. And I said the student will become the master Saturday and win the rubber match. That's what I had in my notes, and that worked out. That materialized. Don't forget it. When you're looking for the real stuff, you come here to win now or get bent. Don't hold me to those predictions. That's a lucky one. I got lucky. That was good. But the high scoring, that 2-1 first quarter, I was like, oh man, here we go. It was feeling like 2023, that 20-13 game, where it's like, oh man, is this going to be a bit of a slop fest, or is this? I want some real ball. Frank Harris was at the game. I saw him in the stands. Don't put pads on him. That's all I kept asking. Keep that guy in the stands. You stay there. I'm still very scarred from a couple times, but specifically 2023 when he just wouldn't go down. He just kept coming back. But man, what a tremendous win for the Bobcats. It feels good for the Bobcats to be where they are in the driver's seat, where there's a lot on the table. I mean, I was on a podcast and I was talking about, they asked me what my prediction was, and I said 9 wins. I had 9-3 when the Wizard and I did our predictions. And, it was almost laughed at a little bit. Like that was pretty high. Like I was being too optimistic. But this is a real team. GJ Kinney, he's a real coach. This is a real staff that he's built. When they came here 3 years ago, they were so young, and they were able to do what they did the last 2 years. Now they've been here. They've able to set down and really let their roots take in. and let their scheme, their system, everything that they have around their program, their culture, they've allowed it to seep in, and they've gained that experience, and they know what to anticipate, the ups and downs and everything. And now you're seeing it the first 2 games. This is some of the most steady Texas State ball I've seen, where they're steady, specifically on offense, where it's not these flashes of brilliance and then flashes of nothing. It's sustained consistency throughout the game, and I hang this on the coaches. This is a sign of maturity all across the board. I've bragged a lot about some of these assistant coaches. Jordan Shoemaker, I've said it before, best offensive line coach in the Sun Belt, and he's showing it again this year with this offensive line and what they're doing. This has been tremendous. That 9 wins that I predicted is my trust in this coaching staff, and now really like I trust this offense with everything I have. I'm like, okay, this is not some a flash in the pan. Let's put up some a whole lot of points, but not a whole lot of substance. There's meat, potatoes, and dessert in this one, and it's great. I really like what I'm seeing from this Tech State offense, and I think it's sustainable. I think you got to get more receivers in the mix, though, for depth purposes. I mentioned that earlier, but that's one thing that I think just getting more of them involved and just having a bunch more receivers. But I think that might come with time with so many new guys. But what a time for Texas State, 2-0 for the Bobcats. There was a time where that was pretty rare, and now it's almost expected for Texas State. So it's nice to be 2-0. It's nice for UTSA to be 0-2. Oof, that's tough way to start the year for our Bird friends down south. Maybe not all friends, except for Sergio Ramirez. Shout out to Sergio and my guy Caleb. But all right, let me send you off with one more. Austin Patchmaster, they are back. Our guys at Austin Patchmaster are returning for the 2025 season. They have sponsored us in some capacity in 2023, 2024, and now 2025. Drywall, sheetrock, and plaster repair, cracked walls, cracked ceilings, paint jobs, dings and dents, popcorn ceiling removal. Did you punch a hole in your wall after a Tech State loss recently? Well, whether you're moving in, moving out, or just looking to upgrade, Austin Patchmaster has you covered. Owned and operated by a Tech State grad and a true Tech State sicko, Michael Clements. Austin Patchmaster is one of our first sponsors, and they are back for the 2025 season. Check them out at austin.patchmaster.com. That's austin.patchmaster.com. And call them at 512-200-3888. That's 512-200-3888. Say win now or get bent, and they'll hit you with a nice little 10% discount. Hit them up, austin.patchmaster.com. Oh, thank you to Austin Patchmaster. Check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/winnoworgetbent. Our merch site, wnogb.com, under construction. Hang in there, though. I like seeing you sickos wearing the gear. That's a lot of fun going in the game and seeing that. So we'll get that back up. Check out our YouTube channel, Win Now or Get Bent. Like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff on there. Check us out on Twitter at Win Now or Get Bent. Check us out on Instagram and TikTok at WNOGB. Like, subscribe, comment on all our platforms. You audio heads out there, you busy bees that you're listening with your earbuds in. Make sure you get on there on Apple and leave a nice comment or rating. Make sure you're subscribed so it downloads right away. All that good stuff helps us grow. Thank you so much to TGC, to BHI Hats, to Turnkey Tailgate, and to Austin Patchmaster. Shout out to the Wizard, Zachary Webb. Look out for Wizard Wednesday coming out this Wednesday. And before that, look out for the cinematic recap from the Alamo Dome. My guy was getting the goods there. And shout out to you, sickos. I saw you at the game in full force. I saw people posting pictures wearing the Cats by 90 hat. Just out there, every time the Bobcats would score, I'd hear a large contingency, a large pop of Bobcats cheering. So shout out to all of you for invading enemy territory and getting in there and getting the mix and cheering your Bobcats on. But here we go, 2-0. How about it, huh? Not too shabby, Bobcats. Not too shabby at all. But all right. Until next time, win now or get bent.